All right, so we're going to take a look at how to make this scissor shape right here, because I noted that one of the students had put this in their clock. By the way, I caught up on all the grading, so you should have a grade for everything we've done in this course. I was a little bit behind, but I hadn't seen this before because it was kind of turned in after our live session. And when I looked at it, I thought, oh, that's a tricky one, and I know how to do it, but I bet they had trouble with it. And this particular student, I don't think, turned in an animated version of their clock, and it might have been frustration at not being able to figure that out. I hope not, but maybe. And so I'm going to show how to do that. And we're just going to use parenting. I'm not going to do anything fancy, except we may do a set-driven key at the end just to move all of the necessary stuff all at the same time, because that's more convenient. So I'm going to just make a cube for the start position. So we'll just make a cube and just set it over there and say this is where the scissor thing is going to come from. And then I'll make a sphere for the end position, and this will be the object that's extended by the scissors. I'm not going to freeze their transforms just yet because I don't know where they're going to end up. And then I'm going to make one more cube. Let's just make it a cube for the arm. Okay, so for the arm, then, I want it to be fairly thin, and I might actually type in a number. Let's do 0.2 so that I know how much to offset it. And then I'm going to want it to be long and skinny, like this.
You are filming this, right?
Yeah.
Recording this?
Yeah, I just started recording. So I'm going to make it 2 point. Now let's just make it 2. And then this one 4. So I'm just typing in those numbers so I got something reliable. Looking at how big all this stuff is, I think I want it a bit longer. Let's go up to 4. All right, so this is going to be one of the pieces of the scissor. And so I'm going to, I don't know, just name it arm to start off with. And I'm going to freeze transformations, delete by type history, just to start off correctly. And so what we want to do is, if we look at this image, what happens in a scissor extender like this is that there are these connection points, like these grommets, that hold the two arms together. And when they rotate more vertically, the thing closes because these points have to get closer together. And so you get really tall and thin, and then really thin and long when you rotate it the opposite way. So all we really need is an X shape, but we need an X shape that can coordinate with other X shapes as they rotate and also move at the same time. So it's more of a coordination effort than it is a rigging trick. So what I'm going to do with this then is I'm going to set this scissor off to one side of this middle line here. We'll make it go 0.1. Since it's 0.2 wide, then the center of this is right there. So 0.1 just slides it off that way. I'm going to duplicate and move this other one, negative 0.1. And then I'm going to rotate just enough to get the two heads side by side like that. And so, I don't know, 8 degrees seems fine. And I'm rounding out all these numbers because I want to be really, really reliable on what it is I'm doing. So I've got this X shape now with these two rotated pieces. And I'm going to want them to move as a group simultaneously. And I'm going to want them to rotate simultaneously as well. So I'm going to group them right now as a little kind of unit. Edit group, and the pivot point's right in the middle because I haven't moved it from origin yet, which is good. And I'll just name this X group. Okay. So now as I rotate these down like that, I can also move the group further away or closer in. And I'm going to just end up duplicating this group a few times. So let's take the group, and I'm going to move it over here. Let's move it to a whole number. How about like -6? Sure. And then I'm going to duplicate and move this next group right here. And so what I'm trying to do is just line it up so that if there were a grommet going through here, it lines up with the other one. And in fact, I'm going to turn wireframe unshaded on. Since these are just squares, it's a little hard to see. So I had moved it -6. Let's see, can I get -5.5? Perfect. Okay, so then if I duplicate another group, then it should be another half a unit, which puts it at 5 exactly. So nice that I can get these round numbers. Okay, so this is like our start position for this scissor. And I pretty much am going to want to do a set-driven key because it's going to be too hard to coordinate everything all at once if I don't do it. So I'm going to just get this big box right there. That's the starting position. And get this ball. I don't know how the last part of this is supposed to work. Like maybe there would be one extra set of arms that just goes to the middle. We can do that as a separate thing, but I'll just put this ball like next to it, like right here. And yeah, I think we're going to want a set-driven key because what I'm going to have to do is move all 3 of these groups by a certain amount over while they are all rotating the exact same amount, and then kind of record that. So we'll do a set-driven key. We'll attach it to this box here, and eventually we'd probably parent everything into here, but I don't need to do that for this demonstration. We'll do a add attribute. We'll call it extend, and it's going to be a number, float number, with a minimum of 0, which I guess is collapse, and a maximum of, I don't know, I just like to do 10 usually, and I'll hit add. So I'm going to go to rigging, or I think it's animation, key, set-driven key, and I'm going to load this block as the driver, extend. Now the driven is a lot of things, so I'm going to have to load all 3 of these groups, right? All 3 of these groups are going to have something that's going to change here. And since it's so much, let's see, can I get away with doing all the groups at once? It's just X translate, so I think I can grab all 3, translate X, and I can key this part at least right now. So I'll go ahead and do that. So my channel is at 0, and these things are retracted. I don't really know how far they're going to go. I have to figure out what the rotation is. But I do know that the rotation here is on Z for all of these arms. And it's negative for half of them, and it's positive for the other half. So that's not too hard to load in. So I'll just initially grab all 3 of those, load driven, and this is rotate Z. Or actually, you know what? I can do all of them at once. It doesn't matter what the value is. So let's grab all of them at once. Load driven, rotate Z, key. Okay, so now all of those are recorded. They're not going to have to move or anything else, just that. So now we're going to try to position them so that they're extended. So I'm going to grab all of these groups, and let's see, how much do I need to move? However much I move the first one, the second one's got to move double, and the third one's got to move triple. So let's move, oh, where am I starting, first of all? I'm starting at -5. So I'm going to move it to, let's say, -2. Like that. Oops. I think I messed something up real quick. Let's see. -5. Oh, because I've got all 3 of these selected. Let me just start with group 1. So starting at -6, let's move it to -3. That way it's only 3 units. And so then the second group, I'm going to move to, so it starts at -5.5. So we're going to subtract 6. So it's +0.5. If my math is right there, hopefully. And then this one's got to be triple, so it's got to be 9. So it's going to be +4. Okay, so that's how far they're going to move. And now I'm going to see if it's possible. This one also will move. I haven't done any keying to it yet. Let's just stick it out there. I'm going to see if it's possible to rotate these enough that they touch again. So we'll start with this one. It's at -8, and rotating it all the way to about here. Let's see, 65 degrees or so. And this one is at 65 degrees. Like that. It's just out of reach. there. Maybe I can go a little bit further. Let's see. If I go to about 70, 75, and this one to 75. Ooh, I'm going to say that's good enough. Okay, so 75. So then this one, we want it to go to 75. In fact, we want all three of these to go to 75. We want all three of these to go to negative 75. There we go. Okay, so they've moved and they've extended. So now we do the same thing again, but I have to change that first value. Now, unfortunately, because I didn't change the first value, as soon as I change that value, they're all going to snap back to their first position. So I've got to memorize what I just did. I moved to negative 3, negative 3, 0.5, and 4. And then the rotation was 75. So if we're writing it down at home, negative 3, 0.5, 4, and 75 degrees. So now I'm going to come back here, move it to 10. Then for all of these, actually let's do the groups first because they're the harder to memorize. Driven, translate x. So I want what? You guys remember? Negative 3.
Yep.
0.5 and 4. Oh, did I not click the right thing? 4. There we go. And then I hit key. So hopefully, there we go. Okay, that part's being done. So we're going to stand 10, grab all of the arms, load driven, and I can just get these three. These start on negative 8, so these are the negative set. They're going to go to negative 75. And this is the positive set. They're going to go to 75. And we're going to grab all of them, rotate Z, and key. And let's see if I did it. There we go. So they appear to coordinate. Now they do wander a little bit there. See, the tips are not quite lining up in the middle of this, but I think that can be attributed to the graph. So I'm going to leave it in this halfway position right here. And either we can alter the rotation a little bit to keep them lined up, or we can change the graph tangent and it will work. So I'm going to leave it right in the center. I don't think we need this anymore unless we're going to do the other objects, but I'll just close it for the moment. Let's go to Windows Animation Editor, Graph Editor. And I believe this graph is going to be attached to this because it's the driven object. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Maybe it's going to be attached to all of these. Yeah, I think it's everything actually. So there's the set driven key, and it's got these in-out tangents. I'm going to set it to flat, straight. Okay, and that won't fix it yet because now I've got to grab all the pieces and frame selected and set that to flat. And now maybe, it doesn't look like it's working. Okay, so there they're all attached. Here they're all attached. But halfway through they've wandered out of position. So I'm going to go exactly 5, which is right in the middle. I think it's just where the groups are moved is why it's not working. So I'm going to move this group to there. What does that end up being? About -2. A little bit less. Well, I guess it doesn't quite matter what it is because I'm just kind of visually lining it up. Hopefully it'll help. And this one needs to be here. So they're not quite going to be moving the same amount as they were. So let me get that interface back. Set driven key set. This one's the driver. The value is set at 5, which is correct. These are the driven, but it's the groups. Driven. And it is the X translate. I'm going to key that. So now we have a keyframe in the middle of this motion. And just hope that it works. I'm going to put this on my other screen. Getting a little crowded there. Yeah, that's just about right. There's probably something mathematically about why I had to do that that I'm not entirely sure of, but I know that the vertical positioning of this is not really linear. It's being controlled by a rotation, so it's probably controlled by like a sine function or a cosine function or something. But I don't know. That was enough to get it back into position, so now it seems to work pretty much seamlessly.
Yeah, because the distance traveled is less as you get closer to the full extension, right? Because it's basically tracing a circle.
Yeah, I think it is. Or a sine curve or something, yeah. But I'm no math man. I'm just a visual pretty man.
Basically, it's drawn by pi.
Is it?
That's my guess because you
Okay.
said circle.
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. I barely know how those things work, but I know that this looks right. So, there we go. Cool. So then we would just drive this object as the very last part of that. We'd probably want to attach two special arms here and two special arms here that go from center to top and bottom. Or this one kind of works as is, but this one we'd want to attach special arms. Let's just assume that without doing that, we just grab this and control translate X the same way. So we load driven and then translate X key, extend this all the way, and see where does it make sense for it to be right about there, and then key. Oh, you know, I don't know why I moved the thing away from the box. Like, I shouldn't have moved this away from the box. I could reset all of those positions either here in the graph editor by sliding them down, or by just resetting the key on the same amount. So look how that ball, it doesn't move fast enough. That's because it's not moving linearly. So we want the curve to be linear as well. Oh, and because at 5, we need to set a position to keep it on track like that. Key. Because we have a special position on 5. There we go. Now it seems to track properly. Let's see if I can fix this just with the graph editor, because I'm interested to see without setting extra keys. So I'm going to grab the 3 groups, 1, 2, 3, and we are at the maximum extension now here. I think if I just grab them and move them down to just touch that box, and then come over here. Did that break it? Oh no, it didn't break it. I'm just not seeing it because I need to move the value. Okay, so I'll go to 5 to see where they are. And now, same thing. I'm just going to move this value down so it just touches. And then at 0, I'll move it to, actually I don't think I have to move it. Now it looks like it's attached. So there we go. Now it's no longer wandering away from the box. But our sphere positions are wrong. So now we grab the sphere. And so this is the maximum extension, which would be this one. And we move it down to just touch. Then we go to 5. And move it down. It has to be done in the graph editor, by the way. If I move it on the stage visually, it's not going to reset the key. I would have to have the set-driven key interface. But here in the graph editor, this is literally what the command is. So it's really making a change whenever I move this. Then all the way over here, I'd say we could be a little bit more generous with the proximity. Just put it like that. So now that should be all recorded. There we go. So there you go, using nothing but parenting and a little set-driven key. We don't really have to have that. We could have just animated it. We've got this scissor extension working properly. Cool?
Yep, makes a lot of sense.
Cool. Fun rigging tricks. I think that now I could parent all of this stuff to the cube. So let's grab it all, parent it to the cube, move, scale, and rotate the cube any way I want, and it should all still work. Whoop, nope. It does not. So what went wrong? Let me go ahead and put it back. I think...
transforms?
Well, you can't at this point. It's too late. I think it's that I would have needed to parent it first to get the correct positions, but let's just try this. So right now it's working. Okay. And I'm just going to parent that stuff and then try it without moving it. Oops, I keep doing the wrong mouse button. So now I'm going to try. Okay. So their defaults are in the wrong position, and I just need to correct that stuff. So because now they're a child, this relative position is the wrong starting position. So we could pretty quickly fix that. Might as well. So I grab the 3 of them. We are at frame 0 for this. And so I just need to move that. Oh, I'm scaling. My bad. I just need to move that right here. And then one by one, slide them back together again. So that actually, I probably could scale for that. Let's try scaling for that. Oh, it's from the bottom one. Okay. That looks close enough. So then we'll go to 5. Let's go to the end. Let's go to 10. Okay, so for these 3, first one needs to be right about there. Then scale. Oops, I keep doing it wrong. Like this. Close enough. And then we go to 5. And it's going to be the same sort of thing again, where all these have to move. Oops, come on. The right manipulator key up to just about there, and then scale from the bottom one, just like that. And what I'm doing is scaling values. So I'm scaling their position, which is kind of a weird thing to think about, but it's just their relative positions. So now that should work for the scissor port. And properly parented. So I won't bother going through it with the sphere, but now if I moved and squished and rotated and whatever, this would still work. The scissor part at least still works flawlessly, and I could fix the sphere to do the same thing. So I would have had to parent it first just because the relative positions are different, but you can fix your errors like when something like that happens. Oh, I didn't want to scale at 0. There we go. Oh, I had scaled this too, hadn't I? I did all sorts of things. Alright, well, it still works. Cool. Alright. Do you guys have anything that you want me to clarify for this kind of simple rigging and animation that we've already been doing? Oh, and hello, Robert.
Hello.
Hello. Anything that you want me to clarify, like the process of going through parenting, constraining, set-driven keys, animating in Maya, or actually anything with illustrating sprite pieces or importing them into Unity as well?
I've actually been busy with another project, so I haven't gotten started, but I think I'll have questions after that.
All right. Well, this is our review day, so just send them in Discord or we'll handle them on Wednesday. Yep.
Sounds good.
All right. Anything else, you guys? That's going to be just a short little fun demo.
Good timing, Robert.
Oh, did he show up in the last 5 minutes or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just got here.
Okay, I'm not in this class. I'm just peeping.
Okay. I showed him this. Except the sphere was correct before. I tried to make it all parented so that it would properly scale and rotate with the box. Then I would have to fix the sphere, but I don't want to.
I think you did a great job, and this is just artistic. What's the word I'm looking for?
Artistic
Liberty?
license.
Yeah, no. Like, you know, when you make a choice as an artist to just make it look different, because you can.
No, I'm just lazy. I just didn't
No.
fix
I think
this.
it's my thing. I think it's my thing.
Okay. Here, I'll make it move to the right spot because it's bothering me now. Go to 5. Grab the sphere. Move
You
to the
can't give
right
in like that,
spot.
Tabor.
No, I can.
Now we're gonna pester you about anything we want you to do.
That's fine. That's what I want. Bam. I did it.
Let yourself be bullied, Tabor.
I'm bullying myself. I'm like, come on, you lazy hack artist. Fix it. There we go. Yeah, I fixed it. Except for the scale because I don't know what I did to this cube initially, but it was not that. So now the scales are all weird. But I don't care about that. It's an egg.
It's part of a Pee Wee Herman's breakfast machine.
Sure. Yeah, little hammer will come out and whack it. So, Robert, I prepared for this evening to talk about UV stretching.
Sweet.
So that'll be later on today.
Hell yeah.
All right, you guys, if there's nothing else for rigging setup whatsoever, then that's it. All good?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks as always.
Yep, no problem. I will see you guys next week. If you have any problems,
Yeah.
post them up in the chat, and I will help.
You already stopped the recording?